This is The Roxanne Show. Get ready. It's time to rise.
And I think for a lot of people, not everybody, but for a lot of people, we get to this place of, we could say, like rock bottom, when we're looking around at our life and we're like, I have failed relationships. You know, I am unhappy in my life. I hate my body. We get to this place where we are so unhappy in our life, which causes us to really start to think there has to be another way. This is not how it's supposed to be. I'm not supposed to feel like this every single day. I'm not supposed to be exhausted and burn out every single day. I'm not supposed to, be dealing with all of these gut issues. Like, this is not what God has meant for my life. And I think sometimes we have to get to that place in order to say, okay, then what is the way, right? What is the way? And so often we're searching then for that way. And I think I even went through that. So that's why I say it was in a moment. Like, I was like, okay, like, what do I need to do to heal? What is the perfect protocol and everything that I needed to do? And when I really started to make progress, is when I started to really see the way in which I was viewing myself. I worked with a lot of different coaches, and it's when I started to dive into doing some of the ego work. It was really looking at the ways when I was younger, I created different meaning about myself, right? And it is the meaning of what we create is the only thing that is really matters, right? Because there's not really anything that's good or bad. Like, we give labels to everything that happens in life. So things happen, we create the meaning, and we make that mean something about us. Yep. Right? So that's the way in which we relate to ourselves. And the way in which we relate to ourselves then creates different behaviors, right? Operating from a place of whether it's striving, it's driving, sometimes it's being very critical. And that doesn't mean critical of other people. This could also be critical of self. And I think that's where I was operating from, right? I was very critical of self. Control, right? Perfectionism, which was also a big part of my life. I was operating from a place of control. Yeah. And we operate in these behaviors, which then further create and impact relationships and circumstances. And we get in this vicious cycle. And that is really the ego cycle that we get stuck in. So it's like, how do we break from this cycle? And one of the greatest things that I've had to learn was to really disidentify with a lot of those, and being unconscious, right, of what we were talking about earlier. Unconscious means that we believe everything we think. We believe everything we think because our ego ultimately is our thoughts quite a bit. So we believe what we think, we act on those thoughts, and that's what creates everything in our life. So I started to disidentify with the thoughts that were coming up. I started to actually question my thoughts, right? And mindset, right? Kind of going back to mindset is whatever our mind sets in, right? It's whatever our mind sets in. And a lot of us say we have a growth mindset, but really our mind has set in a certain belief about self, about other people, judgments, and all of these things. And we struggle in these different areas of our life. So, for me, as I started to disidentify with a lot of my thoughts and start to actually question my thoughts, and instead, truly actually get into my life, like, oftentimes, right, when someone says, like, who are you? Like, what would be your answer?
Me? A mystical alchemist, a poet, a science geek, a maverick who never subscribed to what anybody's idea of who I should be is, and always has operated with full devotion to my authentic self, irrespective of the challenges that I'd have to face as a result of that. Yeah. It's a simple summary.
Yeah, I love that. And you have a very beautiful view of yourself, right? That you've developed.
Yes.
Developed over time. This was not something you were just born with. You have developed this mindset, your mind has set in, and the beliefs that you have about yourself. Yeah. Ultimately. But what most of us do, right, is we're like, hey, Rachel, like, who are you? We list off of our achievements.
Status.
We list off, we list off our status. We list off our accomplishment. And it's like, is that really who I am? And I think we can even take this a level higher, right? And we can say, okay, I am a healer, I am, and I can have a lot of these other different things. But ultimately, I feel like we're still always left with this question of like, man, is that really all I am? And even for you too, right? You are those things, but you also know you are more than that.
Mm-hmm. I love this.
You are more than that.
Yep.
And you can like try to explain to somebody else who you are to the best of your ability. And that's the best of your ability to put it into words. But the truth is, you cannot be explained. You can only be experienced.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. So I have a quote that, well, it was a segment of conversation. I have to insert this because I have often said in many podcasts, you're not just Rachel, just using you as the example, this beautiful, smart, intelligent woman, successful. You're an experience. I'm an experience. We're giving everyone an experience right now. All of us individually are experiences. And it really roots back to this fact that everything in life is energy. So if you kind of piece, or tease out like, well, what is the experience? It's a culmination of frequency and essence, so much energy. But I'll stop there. But I loved where you just took us because I see that as a truth. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think anytime we're operating from being in spirit, I love breaking down words. It's like one of my favorite things.
Yes.
But like in spirit, right? Inspiration coming from that place of being.
Yeah.
Being is really ultimately who you are. So when you are in full presence in your life, like think of the times when you've been in flow and you are just so connected with yourself and around you, whether for you journaling, whatever it may be, you are just so immersed in it, right? There's no ego there. There's no view of self or a lot of that. And maybe sometimes it can like slip in a little bit there, but that's actually who you are truly in that. So part of, I think, healing is really that disidentification of what we've been taught to believe. So it's really in unbecoming. It's unbecoming who we've been told we need to be in order to have a sense of worth. And I think a lot of us spend our life hustling for worthiness. And, now I'm stepping into business coaching with everything that I do. And, my first years in my business, I was experiencing a ton of burnout and exhaustion. And I'm like, why do I keep experiencing this? It was so interesting because I had done some of the healing work, but not really fully.
Yeah.
And I was still operating, though, from that same place, right? Of, okay, now it's not my body, but now it is.
Right.
It's the business.
Right.
And I'm not actually in what I'm doing. I'm trying to get somewhere else, right? There's like this belief of when I get there, I'm going to be happy and then I'm going to, be able to have the abundance. But abundance, right? Talking about experience, abundance is not something you get to. It is an experience. It is you fully present in your life. It's when you're present, everything around you, you're in spirit, and you also have gratitude for what is all around you. And that's not something that you have to hustle for, you have to try to get to or strive to. That's something that you can tap into in any single moment of your life. And I think what's so beautiful is being able to create from that place, right?
Yes.
So when we can create from the place of full presence and gratitude, right? I know you experience this quite a bit too, but it's like you don't have to try to make things happen, but things just come to you.
It's a law of resonance. You have to be in that frequency and then it becomes an attraction thing. The resonance is there. You can't be feeling and believing that you are less than and yet, hoping or thinking that you're going to get, this overflow or influx of abundance. It's not a match. You have to be a match to the frequency. So that I love how you explain that abundance, as an example, is an experience and it isn't a destination. You have to, put yourself in that true frequency for you to then, have your reality, have it show up for you, have it be a match. Thanks so much for listening, you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review.